to the podcast, hablemos de lo nuevo. For the G's, by the G's, que pasa en el terreno. Vienen jugadores y se van, traiga lo nuevo, a huevo. Doesn't matter where you from, Salvador, Mexico, Honduras, Nicaragua. Todo mi latino, come and listen for an hour. TikTok, que traemos lo que quiere, todo lo que pasa dentro y fuera de las redes. Really? You don't know what it is. Reportamos con la lupa what we see at the digs. En las buenas y en las malas yo diré la verdad. Si cometen un error o tienen habilidad, la calidad del rival cuando viene a jugar. Facts. Yo no me muerdo la lengua. Got love for the crest in the city I came from. Los campeones de campeones y con copas mi race. No empezamos el programa, soy la voz de LA One. Soy la voz de LA One. Love. Yeah.
Hello, hola, and buenas to all of you LA Galaxy fans out there, wherever you may be. Welcome back to another episode of La Cuna Galaxiana, a podcast that's always made with love for all y'all, because we love you. Today, we're going to be reacting to the LA Galaxy's dramatic 5-4 penalty win after a 2-2 draw in regulation against Chivas in Guadalajara at Dignity Health Sports Park on Sunday, August 4th, in the deciding game of the League's Cup group stage for Group West 2. But before we get into all that, let me introduce myself. I'm one of your co-hosts, Rob Halon. You can always find my written work at Extra Time Talk, and you can find me online, acting a fool, at El Escudero, the LA. And since I'm here, you know the Ride or Die is here as well. You know the Dirty is here as well. You know Kobe and Shaq coming back at you again. Ananda Kirana, papá, el yerno guapo, ¿cómo te sientes después de ese partido?
You mean coming in hot like Jalen and Emiro, papá? Woo-hoo. Hey, let's go. We'll talk about that for sure later. Like exactly. But oh man, what a game, right? I'm gonna talk about it later, but I was glued to my TV for the 90 plus minutes into penalties, and oh man, like it was actually, it's funny because Raul G took the words out of your mouth. By the way, you guys are in chat. You guys are wilding already. I love it. I love the energy in the chat today. But I am the same with Raul G, which I was honestly not expecting to be as emotionally invested, not expecting that level of intensity. And I'm glad it did. And I'm going to actually steal one of your words, Robert, from last year or from earlier this season. For you said something about like there's certain games that are necessary, right, that are much needed, and that's how I felt about this game. And that's honestly going to be my one-word match reaction: is this game was necessary. It was necessary on a lot of fronts, man, but the biggest thing is we needed this high intensity type of game. We talked about this being an MLS Cup dress rehearsal, right? Well, this is the exact game that you want, man. High pressure, high intensity, high stakes. Maybe not so much in the fact that we already advanced, but stakes in the fact that there was a lot of pride involved. There was a lot of the sort of the needing to win, the mentality to win, the drive to win, right? You saw it on all the players. And that's why I think this was a much needed game. And I even said it on X after the game. This is one of those things where I think when we look back on it, this will be one of those games where like, oh, we learned a lot this game, and this game is going to prove dividends. It's gonna provide us dividends, I think, down the road, hopefully in the nearer future than distant.
I don't disagree. I mean, there's a lot of things in this match that the Galaxy needed to face, conditions that you can't really recreate in the league. Greg said it in a couple of press conferences before the game that, you know, this was going to be a high intensity affair. I mean, Chivas was playing for their life. It was a knockout match. The Galaxy were quote unquote not at home, and so you know they didn't have that to their advantage. So the Galaxy, you know, got something thrown at them that they absolutely needed to face, so that later down the line in the season, when it comes back up, they'll have success. So yeah, it was a great evening. I mean, it was different, Ananda, you know, because the League's Cup is actually the one that, you know, kind of runs the show on anything. So Galaxy Comms didn't, set up the usual, press conference stuff like that. It was like a mixed zone in the back, so things were a little bit weird and stuff like that. And of course, let's not even talk about all the wackiness with the permutations and how the table ended up going up. I actually put out a tweet stating that the Galaxy would host Necaxa. I was wrong on that, but I don't feel too bad about it because apparently
you were right. You were right until the 91st minute in that Necaxa game, right? You were right, and then that happened. Their third goal happened, and that changed everything. It was so weird.
Full disclosure, I think I tweeted that after Necaxa won. I'm not quite sure, but like I said, I don't feel too bad at it because Greg was telling the players during penalties, we get to host, which ended up being wrong as well. We spoke to Mauricio Cuevas post-match, and he was like, man, I don't even know what's going on. So, yeah, I mean, apologies for the error, Galaxy fans, but yes, it was a little bit wacky. And then, because of the Chivas being at home and Galaxy being away, the circumstances were wacky around that as well. So all in all, it was a momentous evening, a little bit weird on a couple fronts, but the Galaxy got through it. I got through it, and here we are today. So yeah, man. But yeah, you have some housekeeping to get to before we get any further. And chat, please go ahead and throw us your one-word reactions. Let us know what you thought about this match. It was pumped, man. It was intense. And that's gonna be mine. I think is this intense.
Yeah, it sure was. I mean, I'm going to ask you a little bit about that too when we go to the match summary. I know you want to talk about the vibe since I unfortunately could not make it. So I was watching it from the comforts of my own home. But yeah, there were a couple of things that I noticed. I was like, I think it's pretty intense at the stadium. But anyways, let's go through housekeeping, guys. So you guys can always follow me, block me, or stalk me as always at Ananda Galaxiana.
Stalk them up.
If you are on YouTube, both of our handles are right there, right below there, conveniently for your disposal, so you can stalk away, as Robert always says. And, you guys can always find us on all of your socials at Laguna Galaxiana. And, of course, you found us here on YouTube. So thank you for coming back, chat. We missed y'all and happy to be with y'all to celebrate this win. And if you are coming in for the first time, welcome. If you're listening to this on playback the next day or a few days after, welcome as well. And guys, if you like what you're listening to, give us a shot. Hit that subscribe button so that you know when we're coming on live. We'll usually do streams on Mondays and Thursdays. We'll have a couple special episodes here and there. I know Rob and I are working on one as we speak, so we will announce that as soon as we get the final details and all that stuff. And you guys can always follow us there. And
can I give him a preview?
You can give him a preview. Sure.
We have a special guest coming up. We've had her on before. Fantastic guest the first time around. Huge into a Premier League club. That should more than likely give it away for you guys. But anyway, we'll have her and her sage commentary on the Galaxy in a couple shows. So anyway, go ahead, Ananda.
Yep.
That should have given it away, I think.
Yeah. But and of course, if you guys like what you're listening to, go ahead and give those likes. Whoever are the prime ministers and VP of likes in the chat, go ahead and hit that up, guys, and stake your claim. And of course, as Rob always says, put someone on. And Roberto, it wouldn't be this show if I don't do this. Como siempre, antes de olvidarme, buenos días, tardes o noches y bienvenidos a otro capítulo de La Cuna Galaxiana. Of course, League Cup edition, guys. And boy, we've got a doozy to react to. Already some really good one-word chats one-word reactions in the chat. So Scott just simply says, wow.
Wow.
And by the way, he also did guess the. So yeah, there you go, guys. It's there's a couple good guesses right there for who are.
Wait. We can neither confirm or deny the answer.
Yeah,
that's what we're saying.
I said
that's
those
the
are
official party line.
I said those are a couple good guesses.
Gotcha.
And let's see if there's any more. Yeah, one word, Raul G, handled. There you go. Yeah, handled. We did handle. Absolutely. Yeah. By the way, Raul G, I saw you in the broadcast waving that flag, son. Looking good, man. Looking good in the V block there, waving that flag, showing your G pride. Love it, man. I spotted you a couple times, so there you go.
We have another guest in the chat. The homie Tony Toscano says, "It isn't a journalist by the name of Nofi Snakolau, is it?"
We can neither confirm or deny.
The negotiations are underway, and like Will Kuhn said, we're superstitious. So yeah, we'll we'll just see it there. But the guest is going to be fun. So Ananda, where were we? Sorry about that.
I was just saying I was just telling Raul G. I saw him on the broadcast a couple times. So there you go.
Isn't it fun when you spot G's that and they're just like repping super hard? Oh man, I love that feeling when I'm watching the game for whatever reason, like an away game or whatever like that. If I'm not there and I see like I know them, I get to geek out. It's really fun. But anyway, like Ananda said, guys, and I'm not to get into all the housekeeping and stuff like that, but I will bring you another plea. We're just a shade under 250 subs, so go ahead, tell the friends, hey, check it out. I know this podcast, you might like it. Help us get to 250. We're almost there. And I have a dream, and you know what? Kobe Bryant said, job's not done. So until we get to 250, job's not done. And then it'll probably be 300 after that. I'm not going to lie, job's not done. But anyway, help us get to 250. And breaking into these announcements, guys, we already let you know about the 10th birthday celebration blood drive for Luka Knows Heart. Man, this is a one of those causes that is like a legacy Galaxy cause, man. Like this is a chance to go ahead and support your Galaxy community and support a former G, 3-time MLS Cup champion, Ada de la Garza, his wife and their family, who will be returning to Los Angeles to host their annual Luka Knows Heart blood drive with the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles and benefiting that same hospital. Guys, when you go to this event, you'll have an opportunity to win signed jerseys, Luka Knows Heart merch, and more in the raffle. But of course, the big thing about this is you get to help out and get to give back. So this is happening on Sunday, August 25th, 2024, from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at the Hudson House in Redondo Beach. Go ahead and check out the LA Galaxy Foundation for more information about this one, guys. The blue, white, and gold pop-up just happened this weekend. As always, it was amazing. It was fun. Gracias a los ñaños de 1-2 Threads por organizar todo de nuevo. I don't know what number this is on. I mean, maybe 8 or 9, but each one is special in its own way. This one was special because not only did we have a bunch of Galaxy creators, putting out some of the best independent merch, but you also had some LA Galaxy players out there at this one. Jalen Neal, Tucker Lepley, and Mauricio Cuevas pulled up, and they shot a mini commercial on the spot for FHU Labs. So it's really cool of them to come out. Anand and I got to have a word with them, and super humble guys. It's different talking to them, and I even told them, I was like, wow, you guys even look different, because when I catch them, they're I'm sitting down and they're kind of like raised and stuff like that, and we're like looking up at them and stuff like that, and I was like, wow, I didn't even know I'm taller than Tucker. Wow, crazy. But you don't really get that impression in the presser. But we got to see those cats, super nice guys, super amazing for them to come out and engage with the Galaxy community and see what it's all about, and of course Galaxy fans that were there just were pulling up, guys, can we get a picture? And they were super nice and gracious with their time, and they hooked it up. And so blue, white, and gold pop-up, another successful edition in the books. We got to meet a lot of people, including the homie Jonathan from King Kong Creations. Shout out King Kong Creations. You can find them on Instagram at King Kong Creations _ the homie makes these tumblers, and each one I think I saw like 8 or 9 different versions of like Galaxy. If you're a Taylor Swift fan, he's got one for you. I mean, he's got a bunch of different varieties and different designs. But of course, this being a Galaxy podcast, you know where to get your Galaxy tumbler fix at King Kong Creation. So shout out to them, and shout out to his mom who you know, actually let me know that she is the homie Julio, the Nano Julio from 1-2's cousins. So you know, it's good that you know, not only is it a community thing, but it's a family thing. You know, it's beautiful to see the community growing like that, man. So we had the Blue and Gold pop-up where we had a bunch of independent creators. One of the creators that wasn't there, but I needed to shout out, is Shop Naranja Dulce. They just did a mashup, LA Galaxy with Los Angeles Azules, and I'm not sure if you're up on game on the grupo Los Angeles Azules.
No, fill me in, Papa.
Oh man, they do a couple good ones. They do that nunca suficiente para mí. Bum, bum, bum. Anyway, I'm gonna send you a playlist and you'll get up on game. There's a lot. They got a lot of good stuff, man. So anyway, Shop Naranja Dulce, they did the Galaxy / Los Angeles Azules mashup. They put on X that it was the cumbia mashup that no one knew they needed, but now that it's out, I need it. Scott W says, do the carry big guy sizes? You know what, Scott, I don't know, but you know, that's a very pertinent question for myself as well. So if you find out, let me know. You can go ahead and find out by hitting them up at shopnaranjadulce.com. They have their entire line. We have shouted them out before on this pod. They have a lot of good stuff. So it's not just this t-shirt, but they have the Loteria line as well that we shouted out a couple months back or a couple weeks back. So check that out. If they do have big guy sizes, someone let me know. And you know, this is a must cop, even though like I told Ananda like 8 times this weekend at the Blue and Gold pop-up, this is a must cop. Let's see what wifey says, and he would just laugh at me. Yeah, just like that.
No, but I mean, it's hard not to, but I like you said, it keeps growing every time we go. Yeah, just and every time I see Julio and Jamie, they say the same exact thing, and it keeps getting truer and truer. Is that there's nothing like the Galaxy community, just amongst all the creators, the camaraderie, the, you know, just the players coming out and supporting the community on that level. I mean, they must have stayed there a couple hours taking pictures with, you know, all the moms, all the kids, all the kids were coming up to them and wanting a picture. So just an amazing community, man. It can't be, you have to see it. If you guys are listening and haven't felt it or seen it, I urge you to go out to one of these events, and you'll see it and feel it in real time for sure.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, this guy's weird, bro. But like for a moment, there was this moment where, like, you know, you were talking to someone, the wives were talking, and I just had like a moment to just kind of like look, and I just closed my eyes for a moment, and I heard just like the laughter and the chatter and like the vibrancy, and I loved it, man. You like I said, the community's unmatched, and that's why. I mean, I can't wait for the next one already, and we just had one, so we will of course bring you more information on the next one. But what we can't tell you about right now is the ACB barbecue at Whittier Narrows on August 10th at 11 a.m. This one is open to all G's, guys. There will be food, music, games, and another salsa competition. I'm still trying to convince Ananda to have us enter a Lacuna Galaxiana salsa. It's not going so well, but you know what? We may pull up and you know, check this out. Who knows? Congratulations to Ruben Ramos Jr. and the U.S. Men's Youth National Team for making the final of the CONCACAF Championship. They were leading 1-0 in injury time until Mexico tied them up to send this one into extra time, where they were beaten in the 120th minute cruelly in the dying moments of the game for Mexico to win this title. But so congratulations to those young lads for getting to the final, and congratulations to Ruben Ramos for you know, being one of the you know, I guess go-to players on this team. We can see why you know, at just 17 he's breaking into this Galaxy first team. So speaking of Ruben Ramos, you know, that's a good opportunity for us to segue into VCFC, Ventura County. Ananda, they won finally in regulation. They won a 3-2 match and a come-from-behind away victory over St. Louis City 2 at home on Friday, August 2nd. And I'm sorry, that one was away. That's at St. Louis City's home. Aaron Boo got the game winner. So again, good to see Galaxy players that a little bit on the fringes, or what Greg would say, the depth of the squad stepping up and doing well. Their next match will be another edition of El Traficito, Ananda, on Sunday, August 11th at 7 p.m. I don't know, man. There's never been a better opportunity to go hit the willy roll and check out a VCFC game. It isn't El Traficito. Let's pull up. Scott's giving us the breaking news. Scott W says only up to 2XL. I'll do a couple of crunches and lunges, and maybe I can get into that. But there you have it, guys. 2XL, Shop Naranjo Dulce goes up to 2XL. And if you want to go ahead and support them, Ananda dropped the website into the chat. So yeah, guys, another edition of El Traficito is coming up Sunday, August 11th at 7 p.m. Go out and support VCFC. After 20 games played, they are third in the standings, 7-8-5 record on 36 points. And like I said, they finally snapped their winless in regulation streak after 8 games. That one was starting to worry me a little bit. Like I always say, like that one keeps me up at night. You have no idea how much I've thought of that stat. And so I'm just very happy that they finally got one in regulation. And now off to the tournament, which has us here this very evening, Ananda. The Leagues Cup. Have you, besides the Galaxy, I know that you and I saw some highlights the other night, but have you been keeping up on game?
And,
you got me.
The low one. Gary, I finally got him. It's been a while, right, Gary? It's been a while, but we got him, champ.
G-Cam. Oh, man.
G-Cam, man.
Hey, really quick, before I get into Leagues Cup, Roger says the homie moves in silence was holding it down too. Facts. That's my one and only expenditure for the day that I got approved by the Minister of Finance was actually a move in silence piece. And so yes, definitely threw it down. And like we said before on a couple pods previous, Nikki's does have that exclusive drop for the move in silence shirt. So go ahead, shirt and hoodie. So go ahead and hit up Nikki Sports to go ahead and get that. So it's wonderful to see the Galaxy collaborate with these independent creators. And you know what? When you go to the Blue, White, and Gold pop-up, you guys get to catch them first. You guys get to catch them when they're underground, and then just be like, oh, you just barely heard about so-and-so. Yeah, I've been knowing about them. But yeah, man, that's the fun thing about the Blue, White, and Gold pop-up, man, is you get to see all the heat before anybody else. But anyway, going back to the Leagues Cup roundup. I'm so serious about it. I had to clear my throat, Ananda. So anyway, but like I said, we saw a couple of highlights, but beyond that, have you seen too much?
No, just the highlights. I watched the highlights of like you said, the ones that we saw together. That Tigres Miami match was really interesting. That
volley, homie.
Ridiculous. I did catch the, preparing for this because we're going to talk about our matchup against Seattle. I did watch that Necaxa 3-1 win at their ground, and that was an interesting match as well. So yeah, but not too much, man. I've been more focused on the Galaxy. Of course, as you know, there's a lot of like other soccer happening. There's the Olympics. There's the the European League preseasons that are going on. So yeah, just a lot to other stuff to watch. A lot of sporting events going on. Of course, there's been a lot going on this summer, man. So yeah, not too much. Yeah, that's what I've been watching, to be honest. A few bits of that, but yeah, nothing else.
Well, I did I did a deep dive into like the trends in this Leagues Cup. And as it respects to the leagues, so like basically like MLS versus Liga MX, right?
Yeah,
which is what the tournament is conceived on anyway. So the biggest surprise on the MLS side was Austin taking first place in West Group 1 by beating Pumas and Monterrey, both traditional Mexican powerhouses, and Austin, who no shade to them, is middle of the table. Did beat the Galaxy earlier in the year, but is middle of the table. Just took out these two teams and didn't bat an eyelash. It was pretty incredible. In the East, Toronto beat Pachuca. Pachuca is the newly crowned CONCACAF Champions Cup winners, a very, very fine club, and beat them well to top East Group 6. Of course, Pachuca just go through as well in the second place. And then, the match that you mentioned, Tigres got a little bit of revenge back for Liga MX with their 2-1 win over Inter Miami to win East Group 2. But, of course, Inter Miami still does go through as the second place. And like I mentioned, I did a deep dive, and this is what I found, Ananda, of the 28 MLS and 17 Liga MX teams that started this tournament on Friday, July 26th, right? So total of 47 teams. You had two that did not start the tournament in the group stage, which were Columbus and Club America, obviously, because they're the respective league champions. In 45 group stage matches, there was a total of 28 games played between MLS and the Liga MX teams. MLS teams managed 18 wins compared to just 10 victories for Liga MX sides, with 2 games that were happening tonight. And I believe Leon was eliminated by Colorado, so that would be 19 MLS wins. And I believe that Toluca won in the other match, and they were already qualified. So that's 19-11. So in the group stage, MLS teams won 13 games in regulation, while their Liga MX counterparts managed a 6. And of course, guys, disclaimer, all these stats are from late last night, so they don't take into consideration most of the results that happened today. Where did I leave off here? In the group stage, MLS teams won 13 games in relegation. I think I already said that one. Liga MX did 6. There were 5 MLS penalty wins, while Liga MX teams took 4 penalty shootouts. But the big one here is MLS teams won 10 of the 15 groups in the opening round. 18 MLS teams have qualified from the group stage. As of last night, 10 Liga MX teams had booked their passage to the next round. And, of course, something we've already told you about, Mexican Giants, Monterrey, and Chivas de Guadalajara were grouped in this one. 2 years in a row that Chivas gets grouped. And, of course, the Galaxy had a lot to do with it, with their victory over the perennial powerhouse last night I would say at home, but it's not technically accurate. I mean, it is their home, but it wasn't their home last night. It's weird. Anyway, Ananda, I pulled up to this one, and normally, like, I get off the freeway, I get off the 91 East, right, and it's pretty much smooth sailing until I get to the corner of, like, a little bit further back from the corner of Avalon and Victoria, right?
Right.
But yesterday, man, I made the turn onto Avalon, and it was already backed up, like, to back there, man. And you had just trucks blaring music, just people, like, you could tell partying in cars, like people waving flags. You had people, like, walking in and amongst the cars, like, selling stuff. I mean, it was an atmosphere. It was an atmosphere. I mean, I was a little annoyed because, you know me, I don't like traffic, I don't like driving, and I was trying to get into work, so I was like, come on, Wednesday. It wasn't really happening, but thankfully the Lord heard me at one point in, like, this past split, and we got to go through. But even in the lead up, there was some kind of craziness. I don't know if you remember last year when I tried to get into the parking lot, and a parking attendant was, like, very high horsey and up on his game, and he, like, was not letting it happen. Well, yesterday, a driver and one of the parking lot attendants, so, like, trying to make that turn, got into it, and the guy was like, no, I'm not letting you turn, and the guy was, like, getting ready to run this vato over to try to go, and I was like, whoa, this is not a good start. I mean, Alex says they were selling raspados and mangoes. I wish I had seen that. I would have picked up a mango for sure. But yeah, man, I thought I was gonna see this dude get run over. Just like before I had even gotten into the parking lot, I was like, this is gonna be wild. And then I finally do make the turn. And like I said, it was wild. I mean, you looked out into the parking lot, people are partying everywhere. But what really got me was that it was just a sea of red and white. Like there wasn't a lot of Galaxy jerseys that I saw, at least initially on my entrance coming in. You know, like I said, there was music everywhere, there was festivities everywhere, and there was red and white everywhere. You know, I didn't start really seeing Galaxy jerseys. Like I saw like one here or there in the parking lot, but I didn't really start seeing Galaxy jerseys until I actually got in the stadium. And then, you know, like I started seeing like a bigger concentration of them. But I did mention, you know, it was just a weird circumstances in this match, man, because the Galaxy, again, at home, but not the home team. And because they weren't the home team, they had silly rules in place, like Cozmo wasn't allowed at the stadium. I'm glad that the powers that be decided to ignore that, and Cozmo was in the cut on the roof, just banging on stuff like normal, and I love it. So Cosmo, props to you. But yeah, man, it was craziness getting into the stadium and walking through.
Yeah, speaking of the devil, XPH had a question about that. So yeah,
yeah,
we're just talking about it.
XPH, yeah, no, it's absolutely true. He wasn't allowed on the field. The Galaxy weren't the home team, so you know, they weren't allowed to bring out their representative, their mascot. They're the best mascot in MLS, if not indeed the sporting world. So yeah, but Cosmo said, F that, I'm going onto the roof and I'm gonna make my presence felt. And yeah, we saw him. He was felt for sure. But yeah, man, these were the conditions as you got into this match. But you know, at the end of the match, at the end of the 90 minutes, all the glitz, the glamour, the buzz, the excitement, the party ended up in a Galaxy win. So everything in its right place, right? All's well that ends well.
Yep.
So closing out the League's Cup group stage, the Galaxy ended 2-2 in regulation against Chivas before beating them 5-4 in a penalty shootout in front of a sellout crowd at the Digs, aka Galaxy's home, on Sunday night. And it was a sellout crowd, and it was a rabid, hostile crowd for the most part. They were loud, they were passionate, but Gabriel Peck and Joseph Painsil each found a way to get it done. They each tallied a goal. Painsil's, of course, started with a scrumptious Ricky Puig pass that I like the rapport now that Ricky Puig and Sasha have, because each time that Ricky serves up a beautiful peach of a ball, like they tag each other, like now it's their thing. So, you know, it's nice to see them getting along. But of course, one of the big stories here was goalkeeper Novak Micovic was named the Geico man of the match for making 6 saves and recording the penalty kick winning stop in the shootout over Chivas. Not only did he have that penalty save, but he just played an incredible match. Great saves, kept them in it early. With the penalty kick shootout win against Chivas, the Galaxy finished on top of the group. Of course, we already let you know about that, with a 1-0-1 record on 5 points, and they advanced to the round of 32. This is the 5th all-time meeting between the two clubs, and the Galaxy now lead the series 2-1-2. We mentioned Ricky Puig in that scrumptious pass, Ananda, and you know, we never really used to do this because there was never really like enough people to kind of justify it. But you know, we do the defending the badge, and once again, it was kind of hard to pick who to throw in there, right? So we do have your 4 candidates, but we do have, again, defending the badge honorable mentions. Ricky Puig created 2 chances, completed 65 of 74 passes for an 88 pass percent rating, won 7 of 10 duels, 4 possessions, and was fouled a game high 6 times. Yeah, he was fouled and fouled hard. It was getting kind of crazy, man. I was like, take him out, please, Greg, take him out. So real quick, Leonardo Ruiz says, at what point in the Warmups did Chicharito get injured and pulled? I saw him doing his sprints and stops at the winning hash. Yeah, that's about when. Like I I got there, and I sat down and I looked at the lineup and I was like, oh, Chicharito starting, and I saw him running. I got up to pick something up. I set up my computer and then I looked down and I realized he was not there anymore. And I was like, where's Chicha? And he was not to be seen again. So I'm not really sure what happened, but brass tacks at the end of the day, Gago said they didn't want to risk him. And sad, because it would have been nice. I mean, circumstances really do not want Chicharito to have kind of like a quote unquote away game. But what I will say is that when he was announced, he got a huge ovation. Our friend Mike Gray, friend of the show, Mike Gray, aka Miggy Gris, he queried on X, what kind of reception will Chicha get? Well, he got an overwhelmingly positive one, and it was loud, it was sustained, and it was passionate. So, Galaxy fans love Chicha apparently, and Chivas fans love Chicha apparently. And yeah, so but back to the defending the badge honorables here. The other one is Mauricio Cuevas, who tallied an assist, completed 85% pass accuracy ratings, won 2 fouls, 4 duels, and recorded 1 interception in his second start. Guy's looking good, man. Guy is looking good. We'll talk a little bit more about him.
Sure. I even told you, man, he's at the blue and white and gold pop up, and I told you there. I mean, he's hanging out with us, and he's probably going to start tomorrow, which he did. I thought Jalen would get the start as well, but he came off the bench. But yeah, man. So,
well, speaking of, get into that lineup. I mean, you thought Jalen would get the start. It didn't happen. Let us know what Greg trotted out here and what was kind of novel about it.
Yeah, I think the big news with the lineups, I think all of us were reacting at the same time on Twitter, was really the formation, right? That was the big news coming out of the lineups. Greg trying something a little bit different. I actually thought, Robert, on paper, before I saw it actually out on the pitch, I thought it was a 3-5-2 with JP and Peck up top, but it ended up being a 3-4-3 with Ricky out to the left, playing that sort of left wing position. Of course, the big news here is that Carlos Garces, Emiro Garces, he got the start at center back, and that kind of harkens back to something that we like. Our spidey sense was telling us that, hey, like, we wanted to see that, right? We wanted to see what that looked like because we knew what his attributes were, and we got to see that. And boy, did we ever get to see that. We will talk about his performance a little bit later. Eric Zabaleta got some minutes in that center back position alongside Martin. And then, of course, Novak retained his place at the goalkeeper position. And then you had Mauricio Cuevas, that you just mentioned, on that right wing back. Man, I love him at that right wing back or winger position. He's just so attacking. I think his attacking instincts are really, really good for a right back, right wing back. And I think that role suits him perfectly, where he doesn't have too many defensive responsibilities. Remember, Robert, he was on that right side having to deal with Cade Cowell all afternoon, all evening. So he did an impeccable job there. And of course, Johnny Nelson, Mr. Reliable, Mr. Consistent at that left back position. So yeah, man, I thought the big thing for me was, I don't know, that Greg tried that formation. I think it was okay to a certain extent. You could see that the team was a little uncomfortable, especially in the beginning moments of the game. I don't think, especially the 2 midfielders, they were, I think they were having a little bit of a hard time. Even though they're used to playing in a double pivot, right? Edwin and Gaston, you could see Greg on the touchline doing this a lot. And that is like the universal coaching side for be compact and be together. I think their spacing was a little bit off. You saw in that first half, man, Chivas was absolutely on us. They kept overcrowding that midfield. You see big gaps between the 3 center backs,
high press as well,
and the midfielders on top of the high press, right? And Moza, who's their right back, he really joins their attack. He's like almost our Mickey Yamane or whoever's on that right side. He joins the attack and creates those overloads. So the 2 midfielders were getting outrun. I think when Greg changed it up in the second half, I think it was a little bit better. But yeah, I think in the first half we were just struggling. Not necessarily, I think it was not necessarily maybe the formations, but just spacing and how to deal with that threat of Chivas, because they were coming at us, like I said.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They were coming out the Galaxy, and I mean that's a product of trying something new. They did look a little bit out of sorts at the very beginning. You're changing from your normal back 4 to a back 3. You're going to have a little bit of growing pains. A lot of credit to Greg for trying. A lot of coaches obviously try it. It doesn't go well, and they never try it again. who knows if Greg will try it again? If I mean, tactically, it'll be wonderful for him to have, you know, another game plan up his sleeve. But yeah, I mean, you did see this team kind of out of sorts at the beginning, and it culminated in you brought up Mozo. I mean, he joined the attack and he got this goal. He got the goal to put Chivas ahead 1-0. Defense kind of at 6s and 7s, discombobulated, and they give up the early goal in the 8th minute. And
a bit unlucky too, I think, from Garces. The ball kind of deflected, and he was over aggressive, but I think unlucky. He tried to make a good play, and to be fair to him, he performed admirably well the rest of the game after that mistake, right?
Well, he had 1 or 2 passes along with that one very, very early, and then he got settled.
He really grew into it, though. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, he did. So yeah, I mean, you're seeing a person start for the first time, a new formation, and it culminates in an early goal. But credit to the Galaxy, they get one back almost immediately. I mean, the man that we were talking about, Mauricio Cuevas, gets the ball gets the ball splitting the lines from Ricky Puig once again, just putting it on dime for him, who, credit to him, puts another dime for Joseph Painsil to tap in the 11th minute. That's where it would go into the half. Coming out of the half, the Galaxy, you know, looked to have a little bit more control than they did at the beginning of the first half. And then, honestly, the goal, I thought, it didn't come out of nothing, but it came out of a moment when I thought that Chivas looked a little bit more dangerous. The Galaxy got a moment in transition. Mark at the top of the box, he finds Gabriel Peck, who, to be fair, I didn't even think he was going to shoot this. I mean, I thought he was definitely just going to lay it off or something like that. He takes I mean, you said this the other day about another player, but the release is just so quick.
Yeah, very little backlift. Very little backlift. Yeah, that was a very efficient shot. Smart finish as well in the bottom corner.
Like I said, you know, he gets the shot off very quickly, puts it where I don't think keeper's expecting it, and Galaxy are ahead 2-1. And Ananda, they've done this to me a couple times already, where I'm putting out, or at least I'm composing and writing my last tweets of the evening, and then something happens. Well, the Galaxy defense happened, Ananda, and Chivas equalizes through Cade Cowell in the 91st minute. I actually didn't get to see, because, like I said, I was, you know, kind of like wrapping up. But who did Cowell beat for the header to score the goal?
Well, he was in between Mark Delgado, who, remember, was playing at the right back position because of our substitutions at the time, and Jalen. He got in between. But, man, to be fair to him, I can't blame the Galaxy defense too much on that one. He literally hit an amazing header. It wasn't a point-blank header. It was towards the top of the 16, and he was on the corner, right? So to hit at an angle, and just, I mean, a great ball in. He got in between the two center backs, the right back at that time, Mark and Jalen. And got to give credit to the guy. And to be honest, he shut me up, man. Like, I've seen from that 90 minutes, he's developed into a much better player, I think, this year. And I think his development is going to go sky high, I think, from this point on. I think Chivas, I think that was a good move from him, moving from the MLS to Liga MX. I think he's going to develop his game. I think he's 20, so it's that time where he needs to develop his game. I think he is going to develop his game a lot in Liga MX.
Yeah, he's one of their best players at the moment. They're calling him El Vaquero. The cowboy,
and one of the first what was it that he went against their policy, right? Because they usually sign Mexican nationals only.
No, he's
something like that.
He has Mexican heritage.
But he doesn't play for the Mexican national team. He plays for the U.S. men's national team, right? For right now.
No, but yeah. He plays for the U.S. men's national. But no. But that has nothing to do with it, I don't think, because they've had.
That was my understanding. Yeah.
No. You just have to be Mexican. It's not. You don't have to play for the Mexican national team. You just have to be Mexican. I believe they've had U.S. internationals before. I could be wrong, but anyway, someone fact check me on that. But anyway, I think that's what the stipulation is. But yeah, I mean, the Galaxy, of course, you know, 2-2 at the end of regulation. They go into penalties, and Micovic gets it done. The only stop in this one was the last one when. There we go. Zendejas was in Chivas, and Zendejas is a U.S. international, also from Mexican heritage. So Anyway, so the Galaxy end up taking this one 5-4 in penalties to get the win. Absolute scenes, and a bunch of red and white jerseys go home sad. Ananda, bring us the stats that brought the victory.
Yeah, man, the stats are really interesting because if you look at the stats on paper, I mean, Chivas dominated this game, right? We talked about it. They were the aggressors. They were on the front foot. Not that the Galaxy played horrible or bad. I've seen us play much worse games, but it was just the intensity of Chivas, and we talked about it coming into this match, right? We knew they were going to be aggressive. We know how Liga MX teams plays, and if you look at the stats, ball possession was pretty even, 51 to 49%. But look at the shots, Robert. 20 shots to our 9. They had 8 of theirs on target with 4 big chances. We only had 3 shots on target with 1 big chance. And to be fair, Micovic kept us in this game, man. Those 4 big chances, Micovic made a couple hell of a saves on a couple of those. The one that I remember was the one that Garces cleared away. I can't remember who took the shot, but it was point blank, and Micovic with a great paw out there just to snap it away. He just really, really good reflexes on that. And then, we usually like to control games, but in this case, we didn't outpass them by a lot, Robert. 445 accurate passes versus their 415. And here's the one stat that was showed to me again, that Chivas were the aggressors. 11 corners to our 4. Usually when a team has more corners, that means they're getting to the end line, they're getting in the final third, they're being dangerous, and they're creating those dangerous opportunities. And I mean, I felt like there was corner after corner after corner coming in that first half. And what has been our Achilles heel this year, Robert? Set piece defending. Well, you know what? We did a pretty darn good job. We almost
they ran drills.
We almost gave it away on a recycle off of a set piece. I believe that was when it went off of Micovic's shoulder and it went off the post and it bounced the other way. I mean, we did ride our luck over a few chances, but yeah, man, this is a tough game. And credit to the Galaxy for sticking this one out, because we didn't play our possession-based game, but yet we found a way, right? And this has been the team's MO this year.
Yes, which we're happy about.
And we found ways to win games, even though we're not playing our normal possession style games. So hats off to the Galaxy, man. Hats off to the coaching staff.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna follow that up with a couple more facts here. The Galaxy hold a 15-5-8 record through 29 matches so far this year in all competitions. In 4 Leagues Cup matches, they have a 1-2-1 record. In 13 matches at home, they have an unbeaten record of 9-0-4. And in 11 games played across all competitions dating back to June 15th, they hold an 8-2-1 record. And now let's talk about your goal scorers, because these cats are, I mean, we did say a couple times in the previous pods that not in the pods like immediately before this one, but there was a moment where Joseph Painter was not really playing well, Ananda, and he's picked it up of late. Of course, Gabriel Peck has maintained his good form in 13 matches played across all competitions. He has 9 goals and 8 assists at the digs. In 11 appearances across all competitions dating back to June 15th, he has 14 goal contributions, 7-7, and he has 1 goal and 1 assist in 2 Leagues Cup matches. And JP, the unbreakable one himself, 18 goal contributions, 9-9 in 24 matches played, and he has 12 goal contributions in 11 matches played at home this year. But we talk a lot about the DPs and Ananda and how they're just juggernauts, right? And then they're getting better all the time. I mean, one of the things I love reading post match is how much the Galaxy are going to be able to sell these players for in the future. But the thing that Greg said at the beginning of the year that he wanted to focus on was actually the defense. He wanted to cut down on the number of goals that the Galaxy gave up, and so the team has been really focused on this defense and cutting down the goals. And I think we're starting to see the beginnings of a young defensive core. We've spoken already about Mauricio Cuevas. We've spoken about Emiro Garces, Micovic. We've already brought up. Julian Aude is wonderful. He and out injured at the moment. Jalen Neal, the truth. who we love around these parts. But I mean, all these guys, I believe Micovic might be the oldest one in this group. Somebody fact check that. I know Alda's 21. Garces is 20, 21, 22.
Yeah, yeah.
Neil's 21 as well. Cuevas, I mean, got to be around there. I believe it's 21, 22. So yeah, man. I mean, you have your future backline right here, Ananda. And it took a while for the Galaxy fans to finally see Emiro Garces, but on his first start, boy, what a debut! What do you see out of him?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm sure you're gonna pull up some of the stats later, but just from the eye test, he looks a player. And credit to the Galaxy scouting department, the backroom staff that scouted this guy. I mean, he's exactly what we need, Rob, in that in that center back position. He has a lot of the attributes that we don't have at the moment. He's easily probably the fastest defender. He might be the fastest player on our team, faster than even JP, right? And to have that in a center back is huge. You remember he showed what his blinding speed was on that recovery challenge, I believe in the 71st minute. He made it on Alvarado. They had a 2-on-1 coming down the other way, and he sprinted all the way from the halfway line back, and he made that recovery challenge, and everyone was just like, whoa. I saw Josh Corner of the Galaxy tweet about it, and that was just a glimpse of what this guy has. And, Rob, like one of the things that I was thinking about, and you're going to relate to this, is just, even that center back partnership. If I think about Jalen and Emiro, you think about great center back partnerships of yesteryear and even current, right? You think about your Ferdinands and Vidiches. You think about even today, like Gabriel and Saliba for Arsenal, who had the best defense in the Premier League last year, right? You always have like an enforcer.
Calm it down,
type.
Flo. Calm it down.
I said Ferdinand and Vidic, calm down. If you didn't I know you wanted to pay attention only to the United part and not the other part. But anyway, so you always have like that yin and yang, that all the great center back partnerships have this sort of enforcer and a reader of the game sort of partnership. And those are what makes those center back partnerships work so well. And that's what you have in Emiro Garces and Jalen, man. You have Emiro, who's the bruiser. He's the tackler. He'll get in your skin. He will go for literally everything. He'll make every challenge. Whereas Jalen, he can do that, but he's more of a reader of the game. And that's where his strength is. Remember, Rob, from the last 2 years that we've seen in Gel's development, that's, to me, has been his biggest strength. Reading that defense, reading where the patterns are, and putting himself in the right position. He's fast, but he's not the fastest player. Emiro has those strengths. But man, if you think about those two together, that's a strong center back partnership for years to come. And then you supplement that with guys like Julian, guys like Cuevas, who's developing right in front of our eyes, and a young goalkeeper like Micovic. I think this has the beginnings of a very, very exciting future LA Galaxy backline, if you ask me.
Well, I fact checked, and Micovic is the oldest at 22. So, yeah, your back line and goalkeeper, if you keep them together and have them develop together, I mean, could conceivably be your back line for the next decade if you wanted to go that way. And Micovic is performing admirably, man. I mean, he made his second straight start, second straight strong showing. I don't know, man. I mean, if he keeps it up, I mean, we might have a goalkeeping battle on our hands. I mean, I know certainly they didn't invest $1 million in him to have him, ride the pine forever.
We raised the question last episode, and maybe some people thought we were jumping the gun, but it's a legitimate question, man. He's been performing great. So, but this is great, by the way, for the keeping everyone on everyone's toes. Remember, Robert, I think we talked about this coming into the season, competition for places. That's a great thing to have in a team, and I'd rather have that than the opposite.
No, absolutely. I mean, he had a great night, and it could be that again, we don't know that what Greg tells these cats, so he could be telling John McCarthy, hey, I'm gonna give Micovic the Leagues Cup. Have them develop a little bit, but don't worry, you're the number one, blah, blah, blah. But certainly there's a case to be made. I mean, like we always talk about, is there a drop off, right? I don't see a drop off. If anything, I see him being a little bit stronger in certain areas. I mean, we've talked about John McCarthy and our standard always be throwing.
Yeah.
for the most part, Micovic gets it right. I mean, he didn't really have it in this last match, but in the first match, he performed a lot better. But one of the things that I really looked at after last year, because there's a couple of times last year where I didn't feel like Jonathan Bond commanded his box, is Micovic being confident in his box and commanding that box and making sure that he's the guy inside that box. And yeah, I really think that he had a better showing in the second match than the first match on this particular stat. You actually let me know that he had 5 high claims off of crosses. Yep. So yeah, I mean that's evidence right there that he's getting out there and commanding his box.
He gobbled up all those crosses that Chivas are sending in, especially in that first half. So yeah, that's a great stat. I think we gotta commend Micovic on for sure.
So the Galaxy win, eliminate Chivas, hostile crowd, big night, a lot of emotions. For you, what's the biggest lesson that they learned on the night? And guys in the chat, we're going to ask you the same. What do you think is the biggest takeaway for the Galaxy from this match? I mean, Chivas is a big legacy club in Mexico, big history, intercontinental titles. It's a big win. It's a big marquee win. So what, if anything, did the Galaxy learn?
There was a lot of things we could pick out, right? I think I said even post-match on Twitter, on X, there was a lot of good things to take out of this match for the LA Galaxy. You think about it, right? I mean, they responded right away after giving up the first goal. They learned how to win in penalties. They learned how to, play against a hostile crowd, even though they were at home. It's just those weird circumstances that you were talking about. But the biggest thing for me, and this is one of those intangible things that I think, especially in MLS Cup and these high stakes, sort of high energy games, I think will play a huge part, is mentality, man. And sort of like more so how to handle ourselves, or the players, how they handle themselves emotionally within those matches that are so high intensity, high stakes, right? Especially when those games are going to come up. We know we're going to see LAFC maybe more than a couple times now before the end of the season. I think in the past, we haven't reacted to that as well. Things like just getting silly red cards and maybe being too much. I remember this was a topic of conversation a lot last year, Rob. We were thinking about the referee decisions too much and not moving past them, right? I think in this game, we did a little bit better of a job of that. You talked about in the top of the show how Ricky was getting tackled. I think there was that one sequence. Fair play to the guys, by the way. They stood up for him. They stuck up for him. But they drew the line, right? They're like, okay, we're going to stake our claim and that's it. Like, we're going to move on with this game. So it's those little things. And then even like within the game itself, just composure and reading and reacting to certain situations. I think there was times where we were a little bit rattled. We were a little bit, Greg likes to use the term impatient a lot. We weren't reading the game the right way. We wanted to make that quick pass out of the back, but yet it always led us into trouble because there was always 2 or 3 Chivas players there wanting to win the ball back high up the pitch, right? So just recognizing those little moments. I think Edwin had a few shaky moments. Gaston surprisingly had a few heavy touches as well. Those are things that I think you can make those little tiny mistakes now. And by the way, we still won the game, so it didn't hurt us too badly. But those little things, man, especially against this type of team, within that crowd, with that high energy that was flowing through the players, flowing through the stadium, I think that was the biggest lesson I learned, was like, how do we respond emotionally in this games? And yeah, I'm excited to see what kind of maturity this brings about with this group, especially as we see them along this tournament and in big high stakes games like the next LAFC game, or if we see Real Salt Lake again. I want to see how this group responds again in those situations. But so this was a great test in that regard.
I will let the homie Leonardo Ruiz speak for me. Playing in a hostile crowd while holding composure. Playing in a hostile crowd, holding composure while having fun. Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, it's always fun to win, obviously, and they got that penalty win. But like Ananda said, they stuck up for Ricky when they needed to. They held their own when they needed to. They were patient when they needed to, and at the end, they got that victory in penalties. And you could see the sense of camaraderie among this team. I saw a couple tweets last night saying you can tell how much this team actually loves each other. JP told us a couple weeks back, like, yeah, we yell at each other, but it's because we want the best for the team. We like each other a lot. So you get to see these moments, that you called it earlier. I'm going to call this like a benchmark moment because of the stakes and because of the opponent. But these are the situations and the moments that great campaigns and great seasons are built off of. And it might not even be this season. It may be that this is a springboard for next year, but it was, again, something that needed to happen. And they got through it, and they got through it together. And it's because of that camaraderie that they were able to come out on top. Raul says team showed a lot of heart and stood up the Chivas South. Just want to see more defense of the box. Yes, indeed. Well, Ananda, Galaxy get through to the round of 32, already bettering last year's showing in this tournament. So after the Chivas match, has your opinion changed on anything, on how far the team will go? Are you in the boat?
Are you still in the boat?
Well, last time you said you were in the boat, but you weren't like really in the boat. Like, has anything changed?
Well, let's put it this way. So now we've got, I'm going to pull up this because we got at least, again, this does not reflect tonight's results, but we got sort of the full picture, right? And I'm going to say this, and maybe this is my hot take, whatever you want to call it, but if we get past LAFC in the quarterfinals, so that would be the final match of our side of the bracket, I think I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say, Rob, we are going to definitely make the final, and I think we're going to actually win the final if we get past LAFC. Again, that's just, I think if you look at sort of who the opposition is going into that, I know it's going to be tough. Again, this is why it's a hot, I'm going out on the limb and I'm going on my hot take, but I look at the opponents that lead up to that, right? Like, we're going to have to play Seattle away. That's not an easy game. And then we might have to play Vancouver. I don't know if that's going to be home or away, but man, if that's on Vancouver's turf pitch, that's another tough game, right? Against a team that that'll
most likely be away. I was going to tell you, it's going to be doubly hard to, you said you're looking towards the quarterfinal and stuff like that. You called out the Podfather earlier. He brought up something really poignant that, the guy, it doesn't matter how well the Galaxy have been doing this year. These are all this whole seeding is results from last year, right? Greg called it the gift, that keeps on giving. Yeah. So realistically, as you go deeper into this tournament, the Galaxy are going to be playing teams that most likely were ahead of them in the seeding. So most likely they're going to have to do most of their business away from home. I was just thinking, on the East, most likely Inter Miami will be one of the teams that gets deep in the tournament, most likely. Galaxy would probably have a home game against Inter Miami because, they were seated higher than them in the league last year, but they won't have a lot. They're not going to have a lot of opportunities to have a home match. I mean, maybe if they see San Jose again, who knows? And here we thought we weren't going to see San Jose again. Now the possibility exists. Yeah. But I mean, it's just going to be tough. And you said it's a hot take. It's a very hot take because of how the bracket shapes up.
At least reach the final. Yeah, I see that. But then again, like, I'm coming in the position of, well, two things. One is, if we get past these games, that's a testament to the mettle of the Galaxy, right? And so if we can get past those games, I feel like we can get past just about any game. And the second thing is, Rob, I don't want to undervalue how deep our squad is. Remember, if we get in those later rounds, who's to say that Dejon's not to come back, right? Julian's probably out for the whole tournament. That's what Greg said to you guys in the post-game presser. Mm-hmm. And again, the signing of Marco Reus is imminent. Right. I feel like so again, and we have a deep squad, Rob, and we've seen Greg rotate even in this game yesterday, and we still won. Right.
Do you want the latest on Marco?
What is the latest on Marco?
This is kind of, I don't know if it's like exclusive. I mean, nothing really has changed, but while we were in this mix zone, Scott French, myself, and the Profe Alex Reese were standing there talking, and Will Kuntz walks by. And Scott French was just automatically like, I'm going to go talk to him and see what's up. So he went over and talked to him. He came over and let us know that Will Kuhn said it's still very close. Nothing has changed other than what we know. But that is the exclusive directly from the man himself, Will Kuntz. It is still very close. So at the very least, it hasn't fallen apart. I mean, it hasn't been announced, but it hasn't fallen apart. So Will Kuntz did say that when it gets to the stage, it is when it's the most delicate. So anyway, that's the exclusive there. But anyway, let's go ahead and wrap this Chivas match up. We do have your 4 candidates for defending the badge. Joseph Paintsil, who had a goal, 2 chances created. Gabriel Peck had a goal, 3 successful dribbles. And Novak Micovic, who was named the player of the match, like we said, made 6 strong saves and recorded the penalty kick winning stop in the win. And the debutant, Emiro Garces, is your last candidate. Made his first career start for the Galaxy, 100% pass accuracy, 4 clearances, 7 duels, 5 of 5 tackles, and 4 possessions won in his debut. Ananda, who do you got in this one?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Novak, man. What a performance, right? Just absolutely, we read some of his stats, 6 big saves, that big penalty saves. You talked about how commanding he was in the box. Didn't have the best game with his feet, which I don't know if that was indicative of his ability or more so indicative of the pressure that the other team, the opposition, was putting on us, right? But other than that, he had a fantastic game, and I think this is a really, really big confidence building game for him. And he literally defended that badge, man. Like he was awesome. He was really awesome all night. I said it before. He kept us in this match because Chivas they had a lot of big chances as well, a lot of high quality chances, and he kept us in that game. I think the broadcasters were also singing in praises. I believe he got that guy co-man of the match, Apple TV's man of the match on the broadcast. So absolutely deserving. Novak Micovic. Man, I'm waiting for hopefully more of these performances come throughout the tournament.
I'm not going to disagree. He's mine as well. I mean, the only other one would have been Emiro Garces, but you got to give it to the guy who saved the penalty, right? Who brought the victory at the end of the day. So yeah, I'm giving it to Novak Micovic as well. And for once, you and I, that's 2. Got him, champ. And for once, we both pick the people's choice for defending the badge. Novak Micovic, after 29 million votes, is the defending the badge winner for the Leagues Cup Match Day 3, which is the Galaxy's second match of the group stage. Congratulations to Novak Micovic, who also took the presser without Dayon and without a translator. So congratulations to him.
Nice.
You could tell the improvement he's making on his English. So it's great, man. Anyway, where does that leave the Galaxy, you may ask? West 2 standings. The Galaxy won the group, like we've said, a bunch of times with 5 points. And now they travel to take on West 6, second seed, and another one of the rarities of the tournament. San Jose got help from the Galaxy to take the 2nd spot and will host the next round for the group 6 winner. San Jose, really funny. They actually put out a tweet that said not #BLA ? So anyway, you're welcome, San Jose. So now the Galaxy play the West 6 second place team. Necaxa, of course, won that group on goal difference after all 3 teams finished on 3. And then they went to Seattle and won 3-1 to take the group and confine the Galaxy to travel. Of course, Seattle opened the tournament with a 2-0 win over the Loons, which they actually won very late, courtesy of an 87th minute Jordan Morris winner. And then Paul Rothrock put this one at a distance in the 94th minute. Galaxy's already played, Seattle a couple times this year. Last time we spoke about them, they were actually not going through their best moment. After a rough start, though, they've picked up some steam and moved into 7th place and a playoff spot. They hold a 10-7-8 record after 25 games played, and they have 37 points. Their last match before the Leagues Cup was a 3-0 home loss to LAFC. But before that loss, they had won 6 straight and were unbeaten in 8, Ananda. Since that loss to LAFC, however, they have lost 2 of their last 3 at home. So the Galaxy are catching them maybe at a weak moment. But it's always we've spoken about it on this pod a bunch of times. It's always hard for the Galaxy to go to Seattle and get a result there. In 20 regular season matches played on the road against Seattle, they held an all-time record of 4-8-8. They'll be looking for their first win on the road against the Sounders since 2016, July 9th, when they got a 1-0 win. The last time that the Galaxy was in Seattle, they lost 2-1 in October of 2023. And in the first 2 meetings this year, the Galaxy won 1-0 at home. And then the teams played a scoreless draw at Ruben Field on Sunday, May 5th. Ananda, you already kind of...
It was that one. I remember that one. I believe that was the one where something was up with the pitch, like it was like slow or it was too watered or something like that. I distinctly remember that one. Actually, both games were sloppy. Remember the home game was the one in the rain.
Rainy.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Some ugly games. Ugh. I don't want another ugly game with them.
Blame it on the rain.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, like I said, you already kind of told us about injuries for the Galaxy. I mean, Dejan. We asked Greg about Dejan and Julian Aude. He said no go on Julian for the Leagues Cup. He said he might not even be ready for the restart. And then Dejan, we could be seeing him in the later stages. So that's your update on them. Hopefully, if the Galaxy do progress, they do get to see Dejan. But the one that kind of worried me after his good debut was Emiro Garces coming off injured. It was revealed Greg Vanny said that he rolled his ankle. Now the team needs to wait and check on how bad that injury actually is.
Yeah.
So but you know what? Seattle had actually gotten a lot of players back from their injury crisis, and then in this last match against Necaxa suffered a couple of new ones. One to a DP that they had just recently gotten back and is back down. We've had Nico Moreno on the show before to talk about Seattle. His reporting revealed that Pedro de la Vega suffered a groin injury in that Necaxa match. He left in the 33rd minute. So he is now back out injured, and João Paulo is being looked at after a concussion that he sustained in that Necaxa match.
Wow.
So
that's new news to me. That's big. Those are some big losses for them. Yep.
Yeah, like I said, Nico Moreno's like boots on the ground and like pretty much there all the time. And yeah, he got that straight from Brian Schmetzer's mouth today. So yeah, no Pedro de la Vega, no Joe. Well, who knows if Joe Paulo will be fit? But Pedro de la Vega will most likely not. Groin injuries don't heal that quickly, so
that's right.
I don't know what concussion protocol
on the
is.
Turf.
Exactly. I don't know what concussion protocol is, but João Paulo, I would expect to at least be like in contention. But that brings us to who could be in contention for both these teams. I mean, for Seattle, with Pedro de la Vega injured, that probably means that Nico Moreno's worst nightmares is happening, and we have to see Jordan Morris play on the wing. If you've heard our pods with Nico Moreno before, he thinks that Jordan Morris is wasted out there on the wing.
Could see Leo Chu out there as well. He likes to play that left hand side. Yeah.
Right. So and Leo Chu plays really well against the Galaxy as well. And then in the last match against the Necaxa, defensive mainstay Nuhu did not start. He'll most likely go ahead and start in this one, as it is a knockout match. And for the Galaxy, Ananda, what are you saying?
Yeah, I think it's going to depend on Garces' fitness, but I see Greg reverting back to the 4-2-3-1 sort of 4-3-3 setup. I don't see him going back 5 or back 3 again. So I think he's going to go back with his starting center back partnership, Jalen and Maya. Rob, I think Mickey's going to come back into the side as well. We'll see John Nelson. I mean, maybe, John's played a couple games now in a short period of time. Maybe he puts Mo Cuevas. We've seen Mo Cuevas play out on the left 1 or 2 times this season. So, because of course our starting left back is out. So yeah. And then of course, the 3 Ps, I see that as a mainstay as well. And then in the midfield, probably I'm assuming Mark's going to get back in the lineup since he had that rest in the last game. So maybe out for Cerrillo. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, man, I think there are going to be rotations. I think it's forced. I think Greg's the biggest thing is, since we are playing on turf, there is a higher probability of injury, right, in those situations. So I think he's gonna see where his players are fitness wise and sort of not risk anything and just put out. I mean, he's gonna put out the strongest lineup possible, but he knows the risks of playing in turf. I think that's a big variable here that we gotta think about, and Greg's got to think about.
He said exactly that. He said if anybody is like close to that red line or at risk, he's not gonna risk them. And he said that most likely they'll have to start rotating because of what the conditions in this tournament are. I mean, like, you're playing every 3 or 4 days. You know, in this one, the Galaxy get 3 full days off before they play on Thursday. You know, Seattle's not the longest trip, but it is still a 2.5, 3 hour flight. You know, if you have some swelling going on and stuff like that, you know, that's not great for you, you know. So
well, and Gaston played all 90 minutes as well. That was a surprise to me. Remember we talked about maybe he would get eased in slowly. Rob, one player we didn't mention yet, because he had a brief cameo, Isaiah Parente. Maybe we might see him this game. I thought the kid played pretty well, seemed pretty tidy, knew what his passing sequences was, etc. He looks pretty good, man. Maybe he might get a surprise start. Again, we don't know. That's for Greg to decide with his sort of training staff to see where the players are fitness wise.
I'd be surprised if we got a Parente start, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him for sure. Well, Ananda, we talk about it all the time. The Galaxy have trouble against the Seattle team. They're, you know, they haven't been great this year, but they're still a strong defensive team. What do they have cooking in the stats department?
Yeah, man. I don't have a slide for this necessarily, but I think we know from their league and really just historically, they've been a strong defensive team, right? Trying to pull up the stats here. So they're this year in MLS, this is league play, right? They're third in the league at goals conceded per match. They have the second most clean sheets in the league with 8 cleans. They have 1 clean already in Leagues Cup in 2 matches, right? They're top 5 in MLS in total XG conceded. And remember, as you rightly pointed out, Rob, LA Galaxy have only scored 1 goal against the Sounders this season. So, you know, we're going to go to predictions a little bit later, but we know that they've always been a strong defensive unit. We've had a couple sloppy games against them this year, sloppy in terms of maybe not necessarily our play, but just the conditions around it, right? One on their turf pitch and the other in some mucky conditions. So I don't expect this to be a pretty game, and this is going to be a tough game defensively. You know, we'll talk about some of the keys what the Galaxy have to do to win this game, but man, it's not going to be easy. They're a tough defensive out. We know that to be from a Brian Schmetzer team historically, right? That comes as no surprise to us.
Yeah, Schmetz teams are nothing of well organized, and they know their jobs for sure. Yeah. You know, they do have again those injuries, but they do have their old reliable one of these danger men here for Seattle. One of their homegrowns and academy players, Jordan Morris, 10 goal involvements this year so far in MLS. He does have a goal in the against Saloons in the first group stage match for Seattle. Albert Rusnak, who Galaxy fans, you know, dreamt for a moment of getting a couple years back, ended up going to Seattle. He has 13 goal involvements in MLS. And the man that our good friend Nico Moreno says, as he goes, so does Seattle go. Raul Ruiz has 8 goal involvements, and he leads the team with 9 total XG. Yeah, Nico is absolutely right. I mean, in the last match, Ruiz didn't really do much, so Seattle really didn't do much, and it ended up 0-0. But you know what? The Galaxy need to play a strong defensive match. And that, I mean, that's what I really think that they need to do to have success. But for you, Ananda, for the Galaxy to win this match, they have to
finish your chances. And that's it, Rob. That's the name of the game. I don't think we're going to get a lot of chances this match. We know, again, we've been talking about how strong defensively Seattle is. They're a team that doesn't give up a lot of shots either. And especially on that turf pitch, you know, I think our passing rhythm is going to be a little lost. So I think our chance creation is actually going to, you know, not be on our normal sort of best selves. So when we get those chances, like the second goal that we scored, right? We were under the cosh, we were under pressure, but we get that one chance and it completely changes the face of the game. And that's what we need to do, Rob, to advance to the next round. Is we've got to finish our chances, because my spidey sense tells me that we're not going to get a lot of them this game.
Well, chat, start dropping in your game predictions. We are heading that way. Well, we've told you Danger Man for Seattle. Who's got to be the guy for the Galaxy?
Oh man, again, I always look to the killer piece, right? But in this game, I'm gonna say, like, I'm actually gonna say, I think Scott or someone mentioned him earlier. I'm gonna say JP, and I'm gonna say JP because I think he's a guy that, recently he's got back on the goal scoring form, and I think he's a guy, his speed and the way that stretches out that back forward. Remember, Seattle plays a really compact defensive game as well, so the way to stretch out that back four is to get in and behind. Of course, we know that Peck's going to be a threat, but it's going to be JP's ability. If he finishes his chances, I think we've got a really, really good shot in this game. So I think he's going to be a key guy for us, man. More so than Gabriel. I think we know Gabriel's a pretty consistent finisher, but I think if JP gets into that scoring form, I think we're going to be hard to beat.
However, Gabriel Pecky's been better at home than away, and maybe this is the game that he breaks out in an away match. Who knows? And of course, everybody knows that Ricky is the straw. So I mean, he needs to find his guys. He needs to. There was a moment in the Chivas match where he didn't do it a lot, but there was one moment in the Chivas match where he took the ball through the middle and he was like in a good position. He had Gabriel on the right, he had JP on the left, and for whatever reason, he just was like, "F it, I'm gonna be him right now," and he got it taken away from him. To his credit, didn't happen a lot. But hopefully he realized that he sees like what led to that play, and he can make the decision to go ahead and pass off when appropriate and exploit that. But yeah, man, do you have a game prediction for this match?
Yeah, and by the way, if you guys are wondering, Ananda, where's your betting odds? They don't have betting odds in this game. I don't know what it is, Rob. Well, first of all, they didn't even have it like listed as a game or something like that in FOTMob. So there was no graphic or FOTMob. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, if you think
it hasn't happened yet. Well, the time hasn't even come out.
Exactly. It's like, if you think we're confused about like why we're playing Seattle away and what's going on, like all these other data sites that are super professional and like super on it, right, are just as confused as we are, because they don't even have the graphic for it, betting odds or anything. Like, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But predictions, right, Rob? So chat, go ahead and like I said, put those in there. There's a
really quick. There was a reporter. I'd never met them. But they were like, well, nothing's set in stone. They're going to analyze things and the seating might change. I don't think that's going to happen, but it would just be like the League's Cup to be like, you know what, this is going to happen instead. So as of right now, we know that it's Thursday at Midfield in Seattle. We don't have a time yet. I mean, I'm assuming 7:30.
7:30, 7:40 kickoff, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, but no, we don't have a time yet.
But anyways, going back to predictions. So Jose 3-1. I'm assuming Galaxy win. Brace from Peck and Edwin Cerillo. Interesting. Unpopular opinion. Galaxy loses 2-1. XPH. Wow, that's a big call there. Very interesting. So yeah, I am not far from you, XPH. I'm actually going to call a very, very tight 1-1. And I think we're going to win this one in penalties again. Like I said, this is going to be not sloppy is the wrong word. It's going to be a tight game. There's not going to be a lot. It's going to be sort of like both teams. It's going to be a grudge match, right? And like we said, Seattle doesn't give up a lot of opportunities. And I think our game is going to suffer being on that turf. We never play well in Seattle, bro. Like we never play well in Seattle. I think it's that turf. It's just the environment. There's something about that place that we don't like. And that plays a huge detriment into our possession game, right? Because when we pass along, have these beautiful passing sequences, I think that is going to play a factor. So, but again, I think we're going to have one moment of brilliance. We're going to pull it out. in PKs, but it's not going to be pretty. And I mean, I'm not far off from XPH, to be honest. My head pick would probably say I think we might drop this one just based off of the circumstances, but more of a heart pick there. We're going to win in PKs again, 1-1.
Well, you missed our brother here, Tony Toscano. Girl, you know it's true. 3-2, Galaxy beat Seattle on Thursday. Yeah, I'm not mad at that. And then we also have Leo Ruiz with the 2-1 Galaxy with late St. Barry heroics. I am not mad at that one at all either. But you know what? I had actually thought of the same as you, Ananda. I thought about a tie, and it goes penalties. It's gonna be a tough match again. I mean, this is a knockout competition, so what Greg said, one mistake and you're out. I mean, it's going to be cagey. It's going to be testy. I don't anticipate an open match. I anticipate a high stakes, intense, cagey match where these teams are kind of trying to move their chess pieces around and see where they can hurt each other.
Where the groundsmen overwater the pitch again so that we don't have our passing game even more, right? It's like
I mean I wouldn't put it past them to get that unfair advantage like that, man. But yeah, I'm still calling the tie going into penalties. Galaxy wins, because the alternative is terrible. I mean, the Galaxy, yes, they progress one round further, but that would still mean that they have about
24th, right, is when we come back.
16 days off.
Yeah, well, kind of like last year.
So more than 2 weeks. So it's an opportunity for players to get healthy, but they don't have the momentum of going into the last 8 games how they left those last 8 games, which was on a high, on a win and stuff like that. So just so you know, the Galaxy have matched once again their most win streak for 4, even though soon was a penalty shootout. They are now at 4 wins again, so they beat Seattle. It is the first 5-game win streak under Greg Vanney, and it comes in an elimination match. So progress.
Yeah, let's see if it happens. But man, number one thing, just no injuries, please, no injuries. I'm just scared of this turf pitch, and you know how that goes, man. Like, just be sensible. And I think that's probably why, like, players like Garces, who rely on their athletic ability, right, rely on their physical sort of traits in the game. I think Greg's gonna be a little more cautious with guys like that. So just please, no injuries, no knee tweaks, no ankle tweaks. Like, that's the last thing we want right now. Like, especially the killer peas, man. Just like get those guys out of there healthy, win, lose, or draw.
Yeah, I mean, the best of intentions, putting it out into the world, and no injuries. Por favor, Diosito,
yeah,
por favor.
please.
But coming up after Seattle, which again, it will be at Midfield on Thursday night. Time to be determined. Depending on the result, the Galaxy might have a Leagues Cup quarterfinal match, or they might have 16 days off. Either way, we'll have a Seattle reaction pod on Monday, August 12th at 9 p.m., where we'll hopefully be bringing you all the info you need to know before the Galaxy's next round, and not telling you that the Galaxy have the next 2 weeks out. In the interim, look out for a special episode dropping soon with a special guest. Like I said, this special guest has been on the show before. She is wonderful, and I mean, we had a great time with her before. I know we're gonna have a great time with her again. She another clue here. Another clue. You go ahead and hit the clue, Ananda. Come on, I gave the last clue.
Well, I don't even know what you're about to say, so I can't read your mind, Papa.
Oh, for our guest. For a guest.
Yeah, I know. What clue were you gonna give?
Well, no, I mean, I was gonna give one, but I would like for you to give one, because this is one of your podcasting heroes.
Yeah, let me just say that she she actually is a proud owner of a gavel in her house. So there you go.
That's
So
right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, there's your clue from Ananda.
And
I also
one
gave you a
more.
clue.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and one more show plug as well, guys. Also, stay tuned for that that Los Gatácticos episode.
The next one.
Yep, we're gonna finalize that, of course, as soon as we get some news here. We are going to drop that video. So check. Even though we're gonna be, we might be on a 16-day break. Hopefully not. We've got some content coming for you guys. So stay tuned and yeah, check us out.
Leo, we can neither confirm nor deny your guess. XPH, we can neither confirm nor deny, but it's gonna be a good one, and we hope you guys have a lot of fun with it too. If the worst should happen and the Galaxy gets eliminated, then LA would next play on August 24th at home versus Atlanta. Of course, there might be a day or so where we don't bring you a show in those 2 weeks. Who knows? We don't know what's going to happen yet, but we'll definitely be bringing you an Atlanta preview on Thursday, August 22nd, before that home match on August 24th. Of course, if the Galaxy do get through, someone in the chat earlier was saying that most likely that game would get rescheduled. So again, there's so much we don't know right now. We don't know if the Galaxy are going to go through, where they would play, where they'll be at home or not, what time. But as soon as we have the answers, chat, we're going to bring it to you. Ananda, anything else to add before we get on out of here?
Leo saying Foos pleading the fifth. No, mom. And I'm gonna leave it at that.
Come on, man. My PO's on, Doug. Come on. I can't divulge too much.
No, I just want to say thank you, chat, man. You guys are awesome tonight, as always. So, and yeah, like Rob said, stick around. We're not gonna. So, if we are playing on Thursday. So we are. I mean, it looks like we're playing on Thursday. So we won't have a show this week, but stay tuned stay plugged in on all of our socials
next Monday,
so that you know when the next show will be.
Yeah, and obviously the Galaxy play on Thursday. We might drop you a quick minute or two reaction after the show and let you know our quick thoughts on the game. But if all else fails, go ahead and check us out on Monday and definitely support your Galaxy on Thursday as they play Seattle. If you're here, it's because you found us on youtube.com/@LacunaGalaxiana. Thank you so much for doing so. Go ahead and tell somebody you know, tell them you love them, and then tell them @LacunaGalaxiana. Look it up. Guys, we love you. Thank you so much for being here. And keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep supporting that Galaxy. You're bringing them such good vibes. And I know that they feel the camaraderie amongst the team, but they also feel the love from you guys. So until we meet again, until we meet at home again, and just so you know, Ananda, I won't be at that August 24th match because I will be in the motherland of Ecuador. Right. So I'm not even sure what the next home match after that is, but I'll be seeing you guys at that home match. Of course, hopefully the Galaxy get a home match again in the Leagues Cup, and then I'll see you then. But until we meet again, Lacuna Galaxians, LA Galaxy fans, from my co-host and myself, los queremos mucho. And one thing left to say, G's up. Do yo.